Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Hare Hare. Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Okay, time for class. So today they only gave me 20 minutes to speak today because you got the dance down there, so, and I don't know how to dance, so it's a problem. It would be more of a problem if I tried to dance. So, first we'll chant Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopi Jana Malabha Giri Vadadari Gopi Jana Malabha Giri Vadadari Yasodaranjana Brajajanaranjana Yasodanana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tera Banachare Yamuna Tera Banachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopi Jana Malabha Giri Vadadari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Vadadari Yasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamuna Tera Banachari Yamuna Tera Banachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravitakacharya Olsuteta Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Abhaya Chalanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantagoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Mathuram Ki Jai, Jagannath Swami Ki Jai, Yamunamai Ki Jai, Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai, Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya, Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Janamani, Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pacharani, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Paschatya Dejatarni. So Om Ganat Tividanda Shah, Gadanjana Shalakaya, Chakshur and Meditam Yena Tasmai Shigadave Namaha. So, because we only have a few minutes to speak, I wanted to speak about one of the topics that's very important, because yesterday was the appearance day of Sripad Ramanujacharya. So I'd like to speak a little bit about him. We had a class in the morning, and there was just his early pastimes were told during that class. So I'd like to talk about his compassion, and first of all, I'll talk about his philosophy, which is called Vishishta Dvaita. So Ramanujacharya is one of the four great acharyas, the Vaishnava acharyas, that appeared to teach Vaishnava Dharma. And each one of the Vaishnava acharyas had a particular approach to the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Of course, they may not have called it Krishna consciousness, because some of them, like Ramanujacharya, were focused on worship of Vishnu or Narayan. But there is no difference. As it's stated, Advaita Chuta Nadi Nanta Rupam Ajyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha. Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. There's one God, and he appears in different ways. So Narayan, Krishna, they're the same personality. So Sripad Ramanujacharya taught the philosophy of Vishishta Dvaita, means purified oneness. So you may ask, what is purified oneness? Well, let's talk about what Advaita philosophy is, which was very prominent after the advent of Sripad Shankaracharya. Some of you have heard about Shankaracharya. He taught Advaita philosophy. Advaita basically means not dual. Advaita. In other words, ultimately, Sarvakalv Idam Brahma. That's one of their famous statements. Tatvamasi, that's another one. You are, that is. Everything is Brahman. And in one sense, we can say everything is Brahman. We don't argue with that particular statement. But there's also differentiation in Brahman. For example, you are Brahman, I am Brahman, Krishna is Brahman, the Paramatma is Brahman, right? So these are all manifestations of Brahman. But there is a vast difference between the individual small Brahmans, the Anuchit, that is us, and the Brihatchit, that is Krishna or Narayan. So there's a vast difference. Whereas Shankaracharya didn't really draw or talk about that vast difference. Now, the reason he didn't talk about that vast difference was because he had a mission. He is actually Lord Shiva. And he had a mission. His mission was to take people back to the Vedic literatures, because people had neglected the Vedic literatures because of the influence of Buddhism and Jainism and other philosophies that had become prominent in India. In fact, practically very few people accepted the Vedic literatures. So he wanted to bring them one step closer to the real understanding of the Vedic literatures, and that was a sort of a covered Buddhism, not exactly Buddhism. The Buddhism that most people talk about is what we call Shunyavadi. Shunyavadi means like zero. Ultimately, everything is nothing or nothing exists. Whereas in that way, everything is one. And Shankaracharya taught everything is one, but everything is something. You understand the difference? Between everything is nothing, everything is something, but still in both cases, they're both undifferentiated. There's an undifferentiated nothing, whatever that means, and an undifferentiated something. And that was Shankaracharya's philosophy. But the Vedas don't teach that. The Vedas teach that there is a differentiation in the Brahman. Vedanti tat tattva vedas tattvam yad yanam advayam. Brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabji. There's just one verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam that even of aspects of the absolute truth, Krishna, there's different variety. There's the Brahman effulgence, there's the, which is the undifferentiated Brahman effulgence. There's the Paramatma, the super soul, the Shirodaksha Vishnu in everyone's heart. And there is Bhagavan. That is Bhagavan, the person with all opulences, Krishna, Narayan, etc. So there's a differentiation. And Sripad Ramanujacharya took it a step further. He said that all the jivas, they're all different, but they all have, or they're all the same quality of Brahman, but they're all individual souls, plus they all have an opportunity to do what? Go back to home, back to Godhead. It differs to a slight extent, a little intellectual class today, differs to a slight extent from Sripad Madhvacharya's teaching. And Madhvacharya taught that yes, there's God and there's all the souls, and some souls are inherently bad. I've met a few of them. So, and and they're not going back to the spiritual world. And some souls are inherently good. Whereas Sripad Ramanujacharya's Vishishtadvaita philosophy taught that all souls can be liberated by the proper association. And of course, that leads us to Lord Chaitanya's philosophy of Achincha Beta Beta Tattva, which teaches that we have the same nature, which Ramanujacharya also said. We all have the same nature as God. We're, like I said before, Anuchit Tattva. That means small representatives, just like a drop, as Srila Prabhupada would say, a drop of the ocean water has the same qualities as the whole ocean. So that was, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught that Jivera Swurpahoy Nitya Krishna Das. So let's talk a little bit about Ramanujacharya. I don't have much time. Ramanujacharya's compassion, because this, to me, is the most important quality of what we call Vaishnava. Every morning in the temple we chant this verse, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuvyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo naha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Vaishnavas, devotees of Vishnu, because they're oceans of mercy and they're full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. I always wondered what an elevated conditioned soul was, but anyway, they're full of compassion. So Ramanujacharya, and that compassion is manifest to such an extent that they are willing to suffer or even go to hell for the sake of saving people. And of course, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, we have this wonderful personality who Lord Chaitanya said is compassion personified. Vasudev Dutt, some of you may have heard about him. He was such a compassionate soul that he went to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he prayed, not like most of us pray. Most of us pray, well, please God, let me be Krishna conscious, or please God, give me some money, or please God, cure me. Isn't it? We have these different prayers. So he was praying, please, my dear Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please let me suffer for the sins of everybody in this world so they can all go back to Godhead. That's real self-sacrificing, isn't it? So that's compassion or mercy personified. So we find the same qualities in Sripad Ramanujacharya. And I'll tell you an interesting story that illustrates this. Once upon a time, Sripad Ramanujacharya wanted to get this mantra from his guru, and I'll tell you what the mantra is in a second. And this mantra, anybody chants it or hears the mantra, they get liberated. Pretty good. Of course, we have the Hare Krishna mantra, same thing. Anybody who hears it becomes liberated, becomes ultimately Krishna conscious, regardless of whether they know the benefit from hearing it. That's called agyata sukriti, unknowing pious or spiritual activities. So, I mean, just like I often give the example of myself, that one day I was innocently listening to the radio, trying to hear some nice Bollywood songs, and there was Prabhupada, and I heard Prabhupada chanting, and my life changed just from those few minutes of listening to a radio program. So Vaishnava is very compassionate. So Sripad Ramanujacharya, he wanted to get this mantra from this his guru Goshti Purna, and so he approached him, and he said, "Will you give me the mantra?" And he said, "No." And so he kept approaching him. Sometimes the spiritual master tests the disciple. Actually, generally the spiritual master should test the disciple to see if the disciple is sincere, to see if the disciple is determined, because it takes a lot of determination in this world to remain fixed in the bhakti process, because there's so many allurements. The material energy is very strong, especially in Kali Yuga. Kaler dosharadhe rajan asya go mahadguna kirtanadeva krishnasya mukta sangha parambhajet. But still, he was being tested by his guru. And he went back a number of times. Finally, his guru says to him that I will give you the mantra, but it's a secret. You cannot repeat it, because anyone who hears this mantra will get liberated. Pretty interesting. And so he said, yes, Guru Maharaj. He promised. I mean, sometimes we see people breaking their promises for a higher purpose. Didn't Krishna do this in the Mahabharata war? Krishna promised, I'm not going to fight. And yet, to protect his devotee and also to keep grandfather Bhishma's promise that he was going to make Krishna break his promise, Krishna broke his promise. So there's higher principles and lower principles. So his guru gave him the mantra. Om Namo Narayanaya. And some of you have heard this mantra, of course, if you've ever been to Srirangam. In Srirangam, they play this mantra all the time on the loudspeaker system. And Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. So, first thing he does is he goes to the highest place in that particular village, or city, Srirangam, and he says very loudly, anybody wants to get liberated, please listen to this mantra. And he says, everybody repeat. So he initiates everybody. This is also similar to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He initiated the whole universe in the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So you may say, then why do I need to take initiation? Good question. Well, you need to take, if you want to reach the perfectional stage of pure devotional service, that's one of the necessary steps according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's given to us by Srila Rupa Goswami, his primary follower. So Sripad Ramanujacharya had everyone chant this mantra. And everyone was chanting in ecstasy, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. Finally, his guru comes out. The guru's steaming angry. You know, like the steam coming from his ears. The guru's really angry because disobeying the order of the spiritual master, that's one of the offenses on chanting, isn't it? It's a very serious, it's called the Hatimata. It means mad elephant offense. That it's just like when you're chanting, you're growing the creeper of devotion. And if you let an elephant into your garden, not a good idea. The creeper is finished. I remember years ago, I was growing a garden and the cow came into the garden as a mad cow offense. So, and destroyed everything. Ate everything. So, his guru was saying, you've committed this mad elephant offense. You're going to hell. Imagine your guru telling you that. You're going to hell. And so, he bows down to his guru, touches his guru's feet, and he says that, I'm willing to go to hell. I just want to free everybody from this material realm, to take everybody back to the spiritual world. And then his guru realizes, oop, my disciple's better than me. So his guru says that you're actually guru, my guru, because you're more advanced than me. So this is the compassion of a Vaishnava. And just one other story, because I know there's a dance coming up. I'm already over time. So one other story that illustrates his compassion, which I really love. This is one of my favorite stories about Ramanujacharya. That once upon a time, he was with his followers, and they were walking and chanting. And nearby, there was a gentleman. His name was Dhanurdas. And Dhanurdas was with his girlfriend. See, even in India, they have girlfriends. So it's bona fide. So, so he was with his girlfriend, and he was fanning her with like a chamra or a peacock fan. I don't remember. So I wasn't there. So he was fanning her, and he was holding an umbrella over her head, like in a festival. You ever seen a festival? You know, we used to do that with Prabhupada. We used to fan Prabhupada and hold the umbrella over Prabhupada's head. So he was doing this with his girlfriend. And Ramanujacharya's disciples, not feeling particularly compassionate, they started laughing at him. I mean, it's kind of humorous, isn't it? If I saw someone doing that, I'd probably try hold my mouth or something like that. So, but Ramanujacharya said, no, bring this person here. And he said to this person, Dhanurdas, why are you doing this? I mean, what's the attraction? And he said, she has beautiful eyes. And Ramanujacharya, instead of just like being heavy and pulling out the philosophy like most of us would do, don't you understand? You're not the body. The body is made of what? Tridhatu, biomucus, and that. You ever heard that before? No. I never preached to you about that. We have to meet after this class and talk a little. And everything related with the body is just Maya or illusion. You've heard that before. Everything in connection with the body, you're not the body. So normally, most of us would say that to this particular individual, isn't it? We say, you're stupid. And of course, that would have the effect of alienating him, which it usually does, because people do not like to get chastised. So instead, very intelligently, very compassionately, he says, can I show you someone with more beautiful eyes? So this Dhanurdas, he was thinking, where's that girl? And Ramanujacharya said, come tonight. And so, so that night he came and he brought him before the deities. And he saw the deities, and he saw the beautiful eyes of the deities. Actually, this wasn't in Tirumala, but even in Tirumala, they say one of the reasons that Balaji's eyes are covered is what? First, there's two reasons they give that. He doesn't want to see you because you're a rascal. But anyway, another reason is that if you see his eyes, you'll be just go into trance. So in this particular case, this particular devotee went into trance. And he became a great devotee. He married his girlfriend. They became great devotees. And there's a story which I don't have time to tell, how they became more renounced than the brahmacharis and sannyasis. That's called raso varjam raso pyasa param drishta divartate. So the moral of the story is, of course, Ramanujacharya is compassion. The moral of the story is to bring people to spiritual life. We should concentrate on the positives. Because Krishna is all attractive. The word Krishna means to attract, negate the material miseries, and give you ananda, or bliss. So we should reach out to everyone, and we can get everyone to chant Krishna's name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and see the beautiful smiling face of the deities. So, and get a copy of the Bhagavatam. Where's the dictionary? Put my good word in here. So, get a copy of the Bhagavatam and Chaitanya and all these books that are oceans of nectar. So we should be dedicated like that now that we have this fortune. And all you have the fortune, because you're all here, that we have this great fortune. We should follow in Ramanujacharya's footsteps and try to attract people and sacrifice our lives for trying to attract people to their ultimate benefit, which is Krishna consciousness. So I think we have to, and now there's a little pep talk. So now we have the play, dance downstairs, right? So thank you very much. We had to keep it short today. All glories to His divine grace. Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai.
So thank you so much, Maharaj, for the very wonderful, powerful, inspiring class. So let's thank His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Hari
Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai.
Srila Ramacharya ki,
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki, Hare Krishna. So I'll keep it really short since we are going downstairs and the dance is about to start in just 3 minutes. So just a reminder, this Thursday, big Ram Navami festival. Please invite your friends. Program starts at 4:30 in the evening. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we have programs with His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. So all the details are posted, but please do join us Friday, Saturday, and Sunday here in the temple. And if you'd like to sponsor